Our second speaker for tonight is Alaa. Alaa is giving his third speech on Get to the Point. And Alaa's topic for tonight is Seek First to Understand. Please welcome Alaa.
Good evening, everyone. Mom, I don't like school anymore. Oh, my dear son, what do you mean you don't like school anymore? I've told you, school is the foundation of your future. You've got the ability, but you have to apply it on yourself. Get the positive attitude about it. Now, how do you feel about school? Didn't I solve your problem? Maybe every one of us had this conversation with his parents while he was in school. If we think thoroughly of what the mother had said in that case, didn't she rush up directly to fix up things with good advice? And she failed to to diagnose the problem, to really understand the problem of her child? Didn't you feel that she was her only intention was to reply, but not to understand? This is a common case among all of us. Whenever we are talking with someone or communicating with anybody, we are filled with our own autobiography, that we are not willing to put ourselves in the shoes of the other person in order to know him, in order to understand him fully. So today, I want to highlight the key for successful communication, which is seek first to understand and listen. Usually, we listen at 4 levels. The first level is we ignore, we do not listen at all. The second level, we pretend that we are listening. And we will say these words like, oh, all right, you're right, but really, truly, you didn't listen to anything of the presentation. The third type of listening, we select the parts that we did like, and we would show our feelings toward those parts. We would see, yeah, we have understand them, we have listened them to well, very good. And the fourth part, which is the highly effective part in listening, is empathic listening. It is my concern today. The essence of empathic listening is not to agree totally with the person you are communicating with, but to really and truly understand him deeply and intellectually. Some communication analysts said that our communication, 10% of our communication depends on the words that we say. 30% depends on our sound, on our voice during the communication, and 60% depends on our body language. But remember, in empathic listening, we don't only listen with our ears, but we also listen with our eyes and our hearts. We listen for 2 goals. We listen for meaning and feeling. Now, what about the skills in order to become an empathic listener? These skills are divided into 4 developmental stages. The first stage, which is the least effective stage, is to mimic the content. Imagine a conversation between a child and a father. The child is complaining to his father about school, and he is telling him, I'm fed up from school. School is for animals and not for humans. In this stage, the father's response would be, oh, my dear son, you are saying that school is for animals and not for humans. The father didn't add anything to what the son said. He only repeated his words. And the only small advantage of this first stage is that the son will be a little bit relieved, because he knew that his father, and he was sure that his father was capable of understanding him, at least hearing him, repeating his words. Now, when we come up to the second stage, which is we have to rephrase the content. And in this case, the father's response will be, oh, my dear child, I understand from you that you are not going to go anymore to school. In this case, the father used listening in order to come up to the meaning, to the content. He used his intelligence and his reasoning in order to know that his child won't go anymore to school. And now, when we step away and we reach to the third level, we have to reflect the feeling. And the father's response in this case would be, oh, my dear child, you seem a lot frustrated. In this case, the father was listening for feeling, which is frustration. When we reach to the fourth stage, which is the highly effective stage, the father would combine stage 2 with stage 3. He would rephrase the content, but also he would reflect the meaning. He would say, oh, my dear child, you are really frustrated from going to school. Now, the father was listening for meaning and feeling. The meaning and the content and the cause of the problem was the school, was going to school, and the feeling was frustration. Whenever we reach this fourth stage of empathic listening, we give the one we are talking with psychological air, and the person in front of us will be really very comforted, and this will put a deposit in our communication with each other. Now, as Stephen Covey once said, in order to be an intelligent doctor, you have to give an accurate diagnosis. And also, in communication, in order to be a competent communicator, you have to really understand and deeply understand and listen to the one in front of you. Finally, seek first to understand and listen is an inside-out approach. It's something that we can control. It's something that is in our hands. But now, and don't be late, go, listen, and understand your peers, your children, your professors, your students, your wife. But this time, put aside your own autobiography and look in their eyes. Stand in their boots, and you will be astonished. The differences, which were the stumbling blocks to our communication, became the stepping stones to compromise. Thank you.
Thank you, Alaa, for this great speech. I'd like to also ask you now to evaluate or to give feedback for Alaa under second speaker, right, Alaa, and give him feedback, constructive feedback on if Alaa actually got to the point or not.